תל אביב 360, ערוץ הפודקאסטים של אוניברסיטת תל אביב.
Hello and welcome back to the Jerusalem Post. I'm your host, Jacob Loznick, and today I'm joined by Tomer Avid, chairman of the Bezik Group, Israel's largest telecoms company. At 40, Tomer brings a global perspective shaped by nearly a decade in the United States as an investment banker at UBS and RBC, specializing in communications and technology. During that time, he worked closely with boards and senior leadership at some of the world's largest companies, including, but not limited to, Google, Disney, Verizon, Snapchat, Apollo, and Blackstone, and took part in transactions totaling more than $500 billion across the US, Europe, and Israel. Since 20, Tomer has served as the CEO of Bezik's controlling shareholder and as active chairman of Bezik, Pelephone, and Yes TV, guiding Israel's core communications infrastructure through rapid technological change and an exceptionally challenging national period. Tomer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's give us a quick rundown of your life story. Who are you? How did you end up here?
Sure. So I grew up in Israel, in Tel Aviv, right around the corner here. I went to high school, also around the corner. And at 18, I joined the military after a few years as a professional water polo player, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I joined the counter-terror unit, a special unit, an elite unit, serving the squad leader for 3.5 years. And the end of my military unit was service was actually the Second Lebanon War, back in August 2006. Then, of course, traveled in South America for a year, like every young Israeli, joined Tel Aviv University in law school, did a dual degree in law and in economics, and met my wife here.
Oh, amazing.
At law school. We both went to law school here. I spent a couple of years as an M&A lawyer in Israel. Then decided that, the right thing, both for me and my wife, would be to get exposed to the global theme of academic in the US and really understanding more the global network and business community. We both did our masters in NYU.
Oh, wow.
I did my MBA and she did her master in global affairs. Then we spent almost a decade in the US where both of our kids were born. So we spent almost 10 years there with an investment banker, as you mentioned, at UBS and RBC, really focusing mostly on telecom and technology, and serving as a trusted advisor for boards of the largest companies and private equity in the world. After almost a decade, we came back here with 2 young kids. I took control of Bezik with the US private equity called Searchlight Capital. And over the past 6 years, I've been leading the Bezik Group, which Bezik is basically the largest telecom company in Israel within broadband, cellular, telephone, and yes, the largest and best TV and content in Israel. And we have almost 10,000 employees in Israel, but we are by far the largest telecom company. And I'm the executive chairman of the group, been there for 6 years, and really getting exposed to both the Israeli community, both on the capital market side and the telecom side, but also spending a lot of time with the global investor community, making sure they continue to focus on Israel.
Amazing. So it sounds like you kind of found what you were looking for when you went abroad. You really got this experience with the global community. But so then what motivated you to come back to Israel and take a leadership role at Bezik?
So look, we were always, both me and my family and my wife, very connected to Israel. We have, long history with grandparents, and great-grandparents, both from the center of Israel, from the different kibbutzes and moshavs across the country. And we, both our family and friends, all in Israel. We are very connected. And during our time in the US, we were also very active within the Jewish community. I was also joined the board of the largest, what we call Moatza Mekomit, that is the organization above all the nonprofits in New York for a Jewish organization. Today it's called IAC.
Of course.
And we did a lot of work all the way to support Israel. It was different times. Than today. Almost easier, but it's never easy. But it's really the time of prosperity, right? After the 2008 crisis, the entire world with 0 interest rates, you continue to see Israel prosper and the startup nation beginning to form shape. Israel was in a different place, both from an approach perspective and also from a PR perspective. So the popularity of Israel was different, the approach to Israel was different, bringing delegations, business and social delegations to Israel was much easier, right? Taglit was in a different place. But we always, to your question, we always saw ourselves raising our kids in Israel. We grew up here. The mentality is different. The education is different. There's something in the air that is different. But we really see a lot of benefits of raising our kids in Israel, getting them the chutzpah, and getting them to have the right values, which I think is different for an Israeli living abroad. Although I think we and also they got a lot of values from living abroad, and I recommend to anyone to have this adventure, whether it's for 2 years, 4 years, degree, work. It really helps brings additional value to yourself and to your business and social life in terms of the value you can bring and differentiate yourself. But eventually, when your family and core group of friends, which is probably the most important thing in your life, the family and friends more than anything, and you bring the global network, I think really living in Israel, but having this kind of global perspective is key, and it's important personally, for family. But again, I think having this combination of getting exposure to global perspectives, US especially, is important. But I see my future in Israel, and as well as my family.
Amazing. So speaking of the future in Israel, you're obviously heavily invested in, telecoms. So, Israel's communication sector is undergoing a lot of significant reforms, whether it's, fiber deployment or just in general competition and regulation is always, I don't want to say issues in Israel, but they're topics of conversation in Israel that are constantly undergoing changes. So how would you assess the current state of the market here, and where do you see it heading in the next coming few years?
You mentioned that Israel's communication sector is going through a change, but Israel is going through a significant change, right? Israel is after 5 years of black swans, from COVID to global supply chain crisis, even the Russia-Ukraine war impacted Israel, inflation, and then October 7th hit, then Iran, and we're still in this situation nowadays. But at the same time, Israel went into this situations in the past 5 years, on one hand, with very volatile local domestic situation, political-wise, social-wise, very divided country in some ways, but also, on the other hand, in a very strong economic position. Israel is the largest, is the fastest growing population in the OECD. It had the fastest growth in terms of GDP per capita, and GDP, nominal GDP, is growing faster than any country, in the OECD. And our leverage is low. We went into this war with 60% debt to GDP. Well, now we're at 70. The OECD is at 90. The US at 100 plus.
Right.
So this is really position Israel with its R&D capability, technological capability, and infrastructure in a very interesting position for the future. These all directly impact the communication sector. On one hand, in this previous decade, it was almost the last decade of telecom, up to 2019, 2020, underinvestment in fiber, underinvestment in 5G, and cellular. A lot because of bad reforms by the regulators in 2012, 2013, 2014, but they led to underinvested and underperformance of all the telecom companies. In the past 6 years, you saw increased investments, and Bezeq alone deployed fiber to every household in Israel.
Yeah, I remember it.
3 million households in 4 years. At the same time, already 70% of the country is connected to fiber, not just deployed, connected, paying active connection to 70% of the country, half of that on Bezeq network. And you see this is exactly in the same timing where AI is coming in, machine learning, need for broader connectivity, data centers, globalization of network, because everything in this market, tech, defense, government, the business community, start and ends with communication infrastructure. Like when you think about everything we do, even now, it all relies on communication infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's what Bezeq does. We connect Israel from beginning to the end, every sector in this country, but also the connectivity to the world and in the region. Everything starts and ends with communications. The reform is critical, the investment is critical, but Israel, with Bezeq leadership, actually went up in the past 4 years from number 79 in the world in terms of average broadband speed to number 7.
Wow.
We are now
That's incredible.
number 7 in the world and will be in top 3. In solar, not yet, because 5G is still lagging behind, but we'll get there. We'll be number 7 at the 5G, maybe number 5, because we know how to deploy network. We're a small country. The cost per passing are not that expensive. But we really empower all this startup nation and scale-up nation and all of these buzzwords you hear. It would not exist without the telecom infrastructure.
Follow off of that, do you think that now people from other sectors, other businesses, even the government, they recognize the importance now and they recognize the upward trend and its importance and its congruity in all these other, like how everything kind of hinges on it as opposed to before?
Yes, look, I think the regulatory approach, even with after 5 elections and 6 governments in the past 5 years,
Yeah, of course.
honestly, and you'll be surprised, in the past 5-6 years, I think the regulator, the communication regulator, but generally speaking, regulators beginning to understand the importance of communication infrastructure and infrastructure in general. And they began to be more supportive and less anti-business. And you've seen it with the fiber revolution, the reform. You've seen it with subsidies related to cellular and 5G. Because the ARPU in Israel, everything I said about the infrastructure, the ARPU and the cost to buy communication services is the lowest in the world.
Wow.
So you buy for our audience between $10 to $15 or less than 50 shekels, unlimited plan on cellular.
Yeah, when I go to visit my family and I ask them how much the phone bill is, it's crazy.
They pay the same in dollars.
Yeah.
At least.
For a finite amount of text, but
But Israel is more expensive than most countries in the OECD. The only service in Israel that is below the OECD average is communication services.
Yeah.
Both broadband, TV, and cellular. That's another opportunity for investors when they think about, okay, great infrastructure, low prices, expensive country, willingness to pay, like the most critical service you need.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting investment opportunity, especially after most of the capital expenditures are behind you.
Right.
So that's something that really resonates with investors when they see the Israel macro dynamics, the telecom, I guess, tailwinds, and then, the other tech tailwind like AI and others that require telecom infrastructure, hosting capacity, connectivity, and broadband. When we deployed the 1 gigabyte to the home 3-4 years ago, we saw 10% of customers buying this service. Now 90% of our customers are 1 gig or above, but 20% of our customers already buying above 1 gig.
Wow.
2.5, 5 gigs. And our network is ready to deploy 25 gig per household. Now you tell me when you think your house needs 25 gig. Probably more than 10 years,
Off
safe to
camera,
say.
We'll have a conversation.
Not in the 8K, 16K.
Yeah, I'll make a crypto farm and then we'll speak. So we're actually we're gonna touch on AI in a bit. But as you mentioned that the world is constantly, there are these challenges, these black swans, and it has a lot of effects on the business climate. But there is also an effect of that the war since October 7th. There's also a personal challenge. Employees have to go to reserve duty. There's like the mental strain and stress and distress, which is in and of itself a kind of different beast than market uncertainty and market factors. So I'd like to ask how since October 7th that kind of element of the war, the more human aspect of the war, how it affected Bezeq and how it affected your team, and how you guys dealt with it and like what kind of challenges you guys faced.
Sure. First, a quick personal story. On October 6th, I was in New York with a group of 30 CEOs pitching about Israel's strengths and how it's confident to come and travel and how October 6th afternoon. Then I took them to the squadron in New York in the World Trade Center. They flew like the F-35.
Oh, cool.
That's October 6th. I landed in Israel. I was the last plane to land October 7th, 9:30 a.m. Woke up, end of the world.
Yeah.
Landed, found out, like many other people in Israel, I lost friends, and my brother also jumped with his unit and lost some of his team members in Be'eri and in Kfar. So very difficult day and year for everyone.
Of course.
And I'm so glad the hostages are back. I have one more. But this has been a huge relief over the past few months. I think personally and for the country. As a business, we are ready. I wish that our country was as ready as our company 24/7 for these events. So if this started 6:29, at 6:30, Bezek was in full alert, everything ready.
Mm-hmm.
We have 24/7 knock ready for these type of events, and the network, even though it experienced a surge that usually we see over 2 years in 2 minutes.
Wow.
It was, thanks to the upgrade in the core network, it was ready to sustain. Very difficult day to the business. We also lost a couple of employees, unfortunately. Day after, 1,100 employees in reserves over the next few months.
Yeah.
Out of the 10,000 headcount, 10%-ish in reserves. We supported them entire way. We didn't have any layoffs. We supported their families.
Wow.
We changed our entire ESG and donation approach to only be directed to the reserves and people that were affected by October 7th, primarily soldiers. We even just recently opened a fund called Karen Mechubarim, which is only focused on academic studies and support for Miloimnikim, reserve duties, and their families. Invested millions in this, and dozens of units recently joined. So we do a lot in the nonprofit world, but mostly focus on really supporting our employees and their families during that process. Today, still, 3-4% of our headcount is in reserves.
Wow.
Not 10. It didn't impact the business, really, because everybody still needs communications.
Of course.
Even more so. All right, there are a little bit, on the margins, less roaming from travel, but more needs for some of the health sectors and defense sectors. So business-wise, financially-wise, didn't impact the business. We're also very solid business with low leverage. And so really we were very ready for these type of events. And I can say proudly that all these black swans we talked about over these past 5 years, and probably more coming, it did not impact the business and should not impact the business. It's really ready and had this risk analysis for these type of events. And
the preparation and proper infrastructure really goes a long way.
Proper infrastructure, mostly underground, correct. But it's not just about the business and the readiness. I think the problem was, and I think it was mostly with the soldiers on the ground in Gaza, in Lebanon, and the hostages, really distracted.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
The country, and also personally me and management, day to day. Like all you think about 80% of the day is like, when is it gonna end?
Surreal, yeah.
Both for our people, both for our neighbors, and the global, the global PR of Israel was really impacted. The brand was negatively still.
Of course.
Negatively impacted. We are losing the PR and social media war. We lost it, not losing, we lost. And now the work that, I do in my spare time to try to recover the Israel brand in global conferences, with investors, with influencers, to really the people that, matters. Because we have a decade now of recovery. And we should start now in terms of recover the Israel brand.
Absolutely.
And it starts with people, not with the government. It starts with the people. It starts with the business community. That the way you see the stock market in all-time high, and new unicorns still forming every day or getting sold every day, that's what will lead the country to the prosperity and to new peaks in the next decade. It's not about this government and that regulation and another regulation. It's really about continue to see the surge and success of the business sector, and it's all about the people.
Amazing. So let's go back to how it all began. TAU, we're here. You said you met your wife here. So I'd love to hear about your experience, some of your better experiences, and how your time in learning here shaped your professional career and helped you, get ready to approach the world.
I found myself as a student. I did also, of course, invested in school and exams, but invested a lot in social life and networking. Not just parties, which was a big part of that as well, but also really the networking part, which was both an emphasis for me in Tel Aviv University, also in New York University. It's a key to everything I do today. I still meet for coffee once a day, somewhat it is outside of the business day-to-day operations, because networking is really what improve your ability as a professional, as a human being. You know more people, you have more impact. And that's something that in school I focused on a lot, both in law school and my economic department. I was able to merge the academic studies and the social studies. Spent a lot of time in campus and in the student organization and the law student union, and did a lot of new initiatives. I formed the law student journal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the first one, and did a bunch of international week business delegations, both in Estonia and Hungary and Austria. It was really very good experience for me. But the fact that you are able to almost really merge these type of experiences, both the academic ones and the social ones, really allow you to prosper and take advantage of what this academic organization and Tel Aviv University bring to you, and take it with you for life, right? To date, I'm still in touch with some of the professors, both on mostly on the professional levels. I work with them, I take their advice, I take sometimes their legal opinion or economic opinion, recently with two very famous ones. And I think and Tel Aviv University started doing that, taking the US model of alumni organizations, and leverage that network I keep talking about, and take it both to the business community, to the nonprofit world, to get it to global impact, which is so key nowadays. You cannot have an academic organization or university without having this global network. And it starts with the alumni. So you take the students, you emphasize to them how alumni are important. And I saw that as a student. I used the small alumni network that existed 20 years ago, but still key to how I evolved as a professional and to my success. So it really started with that. And of course, I met my wife here, so I had good memories.
Incredible. So, we said we'd get back into AI. Obviously, that is the thing today. It's being integrated everywhere. It's evolving rapidly. It's in places you don't even want it. It's just, it's the next thing that's going to happen. So, you've mentioned how, Bezik already has, capabilities being able to deploy more than is already needed in households. So in this age of the AI revolution, where it's also, evolving rapidly, unsure what the next thing is going to be, what is your, what is Bezik's strategy for riding this wave, and how are you guys going to successfully integrate and make sure that, not only Bezik, but, Israel as a country stays on top and stays at the forefront of this rapid evolving, environment that it's creating?
So first, I completely agree that the AI revolution is coming. I don't think that it's here yet.
Okay.
I think it's still very nascent. I think people don't understand how powerful and accurate it can be.
So the integration that we're kind of seeing everywhere is very
it's mostly
simplistic.
I think it's still mostly buzzwords.
Okay.
There is today a lot to do with AI, but I think there will be a lot more, not tenfold, but hundredfolds.
Okay.
In terms of the impact it can do. And it's not about replacing human being. It's about becoming more efficient, maybe changing the way we work today. Still in very early days, because it needs to be 100% bulletproof when it comes and replace the human being in a call center or the engineer. It's getting there. I think we are a few years away, not months away. It's something you need to integrate and experience in every part of your life. But I think we do not understand how powerful it's going to be and how big the revolution is going to be. I think Israel is behind on AI. I see what's happening in the Valley. I see what's happening in the East. In terms of the core platform and language and models, I don't think we have anything close to this in the world. Israel is very smart entrepreneurs. So taking these AI tools and implement them, we're the best. We will always be the best in this type of like go and do. We're doers. Execution's great. In terms of the backbone of AI, the Anthropic of the world, the OpenAI, cognitions, I don't think we have anything close to it. Here, hopefully, we'll catch up, like we did in communications.
Do you think we need that in order to stay at the front? Is the current model of taking and employing
I think we have the capabilities and know how to do that. Do we need that? That's interesting questions. If you want to continue to be relevant in the startup nation, and we are here on cyber, and we are here on quantum,
right,
and we are here on many other future robotics solutions, we need to be here on AI, okay? Because that's where the money follow today. Will likely follow in the future as well. But implementation is as important. I'll give you a few examples of what we do in Bezeq. So we play 3 roles, okay? First, we are the enabler. So there's no AI without Bezeq, right?
Right.
You need communication infrastructure, you need significant bandwidth, you need connectivity, you need data centers, you need training models, all run on our network, 100% of the country. So that's key. Great, we're there. The network is ready. As I mentioned, the next 20 years at least. Nothing going to replace fiber, the speed of light. Secondly, as many other companies, and I think we're very proud adopters of AI, we have tools, we have a great bot that replaces call center. We have 1,200 calls a day that are answered and resolved end-to-end with a bot. His name is Ron.
End-to-end, that's it?
End-to-end, yeah. Bot answers you, not press 1, press 2. You're having a real live conversation with a bot. Very hard to tell it's a bot.
Wow.
It's incredible. Scary, incredible. 1,200 calls a day are fully answered by a bot. We'll get to 5,000 and north of it in the next couple of years. Second, we have tools, AI tools, that run on the network and identify malfunctions ahead of time and repair them. And of course, we implement, marketing tools and finance tools, different software, but we developed very advanced tools as an adopter of AI. The third pillar is at the house. So what we do to you as a customer, leveraging our Wi-Fi 7 capabilities, which is kind of the 1 gig plus, it has an ability to learn the devices at the house, learn their behavior, and customize solutions and software just to you. For example, you can manage the device better. You can see and actually automatically get better speed at your device based on your behavior at the house. The router will identify that you use more Netflix on your iPad than on your TV.
Wow.
So it will prioritize the network to your iPad.
I've been having to do that manually. It's actually really annoying. So that's
incredible. Secondly, and that already exists with third-party software, the protection of the house, the cyber security is better because it identified and customized the cyber needs to you as a customer based on your usage. If you surf on this type of websites and use these type of apps, the cyber software will basically protect you better based on your usage. That's all AI tools. But I think, again, we're just in the beginning of this revolution. Bezeq is one of the companies that at the forefront because we touch everything, NVIDIA, Amazon, Google, customer premises. We collaborate with a lot of other global telcos. So we are really in every corner of AI but in the backbone. As I mentioned, everything starts and ends with our network, including AI.
Absolutely incredible. Well, Tomer Avid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate for having me.
תל אביב 360, ערוץ הפודקאסטים של אוניברסיטת תל אביב.